that lie ahead. So ladies and gentlemen, it is with great privilege that I introduce Mr. Liang Wei, Vice President of the China Academy of Information and Communications Technology, a distinguished professorate senior engineer renowned for his expertise in ICT and cybersecurity. Please, sir. You will need this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Liang Wei from China Academy of Information and Communication Technology. Thanks to the invitation of the conference organizer, the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication, Innovation of Mauritius. I'm here to represent the Communication Ministry of Industry and Information Technology of China to share some practice and experience in the development of the artificial intelligence in AI in China. There's two parts in my sharing. First, some use cases on AI empowering the real economy. Large language model based on the transformer architecture has continually achieving new breakthroughs, such as language understanding and generation, autonomous driving, etc. Large language model possess three noble characters. First, strong scalability. The transformer architecture allows for continuous improving the performance through increasing parameter and computational power and training data. That's a well-known scaling law. Secondly, large language model demonstrates strong adaptability to multiple tasks. Thirdly, large language model offer high plasticity in capabilities. After training, they can be further enhanced through the model fine-tuning and the chain of thoughts. And there's the three characters confirm the role of large language model as the primary paradigm for the development of AI. Generative AI based on large model is expected to contribute 7.9 trillion of the global economy in the future, almost about 8% of the current global GDP. Chinese government realized the importance of AI very early, since 2016. And in this year, 2024 government working report, we launched the AI Plus, promoting innovation in AI, driving the integration of AI in the real economy, and ensuring the safety, reliability, and the controllability of AI on top three strategy priority. In 2023, China's core AI industry reached a scale of about 578 billion yuan, with a year-on-year growth of 14%. The number of AI enterprises reached 4,400, with the patent application accounting for 55% of the global total. More than 400 universities have opened artificial intelligence majors. At present, China has formed an enterprise layout covering the entire AI industry chain, and a number of enterprises have emerged in infrastructure support, framework, and platform algorithm model, especially in industry applications. A lot of companies focus on industry applications. In consumer market, users of the large model have exceeded about 200 million in China. They often use office, image generation, and conversational products, accounting about 60% of the total, indicating that improving work efficiency becomes the prime demand of the users. Baidu's large model application account about 18% of the national traffic in March this year. In enterprise market, large models are expected to facilitate cost reduction and efficiency improvement throughout the entire value chain of enterprise. A number of innovation products and services have emerged around the R&D, manufacture, operation, and management, lay out a solid infrastructure foundation for AI to empowering the real economy. AI improves at least three aspects of the manufacturing industry. Firstly, it can improve the quality of efficiency of production's operation. For example, smart motor technology have developed the industry multimodal large model, industry GPT version 1.0, which help reduce the product inspection time and improvement precision by 50% and recall by 33%. Secondly, it can facilitate the intelligence upgrade and the products and the equipment. Thirdly, it can revolutionize the product research and development method. We also use AI technology to enhance the fluid simulation and mirroring capability. Taking China's aircraft C919, for example, the aerodynamic simulation of C919 requires the use of traditional soup computing with petaflops of compute power. The large model Dongfeng Yufeng, jointly developed by the Comic and Huawei, can achieve efficiency and high precision AI simulation prediction of the large passenger aircraft wind flow field, reduce the simulation time to 1/24 of the original. We also use autonomous driving and smarter cockpits. The integration of the AI into smart car can significantly enhance the car's perceptions, cognitions, and decision-making capabilities. Baidu has released the Navigate on Autopilot assistant driving solution. It can be used by various scenarios such as highway, cities, and parking. In the field of smart cockpits, Xiaopeng Motor have independently developed the XGPT Lingxi large model, which is integrated into its voice system, enhance the driving experience. In agriculture, AI empowering biological breeding can improve the research and practical efficiency. In breeding work, research and development cycle are very, very long, and access efficiency of the data in isolated islands are very low. China has released the seed industry large language model Fengdeng, which aim to breed through data island and break down the barriers between different fields. AI is also play an important role in the medical field. In China, AI has formed typical applications such as intelligent triage and intelligent diagnosis and treatment around the whole life cycle of diagnosis. In terms of in consulting service, medical large model can be embedded into the entire medical process. AI is also empowering government service. comprehensively improve the service efficiency and the service level. Beijing government create a 12345 smart citizen service hotline. AI accounting for about 30% of the response and achieve a very, very quick response service, 24 hours every day and 7 days every week. AI account for 100% of the return visit, improving the efficiency by 70% and achieving satisfaction rate of 99%. In scientific computing, AI technology is being used to improve the accuracy and the efficiency of weather forecasting. For example, assisted in key decision-making scenarios such as the disaster preparedness management, and provides strong support for public safety. Huawei has developed the Pangu large model, which improves the speed of the mid and long-term weather forecasting and can provide global weather forecasting in seconds. AI can also empower the development of cultural tourism and accurate the cultural disseminations. Then I would share some thoughts on promoting the development of AI industry through international cooperations. First, building consensus is very important and is the foundation for industry development. China is willing to rely on multilateral mechanisms such as the United Nations and the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation to work with Mauritius and other African countries to build consensus on development with the goal of promoting AI capability building in developing countries and actively participating in international cooperation in AI. Secondary, cooperation is the core of the industry development. According to public information, China has imported artificial intelligence products and infrastructure service to 64 countries worldwide since 2000. For example, for every country, China has cooperated with Mauritius on Safe City project and with Zimbabwe with the high-performance supercomputing center project. China is willing to continue to contribute to bridging the digital and intelligence divide in developing countries worldwide and carry out pragmatic cooperations. Thirdly, embracing the open source is an opportunity for industrial development. The development of AI is inseparable from the power of open source. China has actively initiated and participated in numerous AI open source projects, contributing Chinese wisdom to the development of global AI technology and industry. China has established the open source code hosting platform, such as JetCode, JT, JetLink, and have become one of the largest contributors to major international open source platforms and foundations. China will continue to contribute to the global AI open source community and call on more developed countries to actively embrace the open source so that they can better harness the benefit of AI by sharing. Then, proper regulatory governance is also important. In December 2023, at the third Belt and Road International Cooperation Summit Forum, China initiated the Global Artificial Intelligence Governance Initiative, emphasized the equal importance of the development and the security. China is willing to work with developing countries to jointly explore generative AI governance solution, seizing the development opportunity and address global challenges. Looking forward, China is willing to work with the Mauritius and Africa countries to bridge the gap in AI development and jointly harness the benefit of AI development. Firstly, strengthening the information exchange, enhance the dialogue, communication, and technical discussions. Second, deepen the supply-demand alignment through industry meeting, application case collection, and other methods. Thirdly, promote research and development cooperation for large model. Then the last, strengthening the capability building, carry out high-level and systematic training activities in Mauritius and African countries to promote talent mobility. Finally, let me take a brief introduction of China Academy of Information and Communication. We founded in 1957, and is a scientific research institute, and we focus a lot of areas such as 4G, 5G, industry internet, smart manufacture, AI, VR, AR, smart hardware, a lot of things. And we are also a think tank of the government. And that's all of the sharing today. On behalf of the CICT, I would like to thank again to the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation of Mauritius for its invitation. I also looking forward to carry out more pragmatic cooperation with all the guests here on AI technology, applications, industry development, and capability buildings, so as to jointly harness the benefit of AI development. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Liang Wei, for your insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, our next panel of discussion will be moderated by Professor Kiran Bhajan, Director of Tertiary Education. Dr. Kiran Bhajan has been at the forefront of Mauritius Tertiary Education and Scientific Research Division since 2016, bringing extensive experience from his tenure as Vice Chancellor of an international higher education, recently appointed as Secretary General of the Mauritius National Commission for UNESCO in February 2024. He advocates for progressive policies in higher education, driving excellence, and addressing evolving landscapes with pragmatic approaches. Mr. Kiran Bhajan will be moderating the panel on the future of learning, discussing the role of AI in shaping educational paradigms. Our esteemed panelists include Dr. Vinesh Kumar Hariram, General Director, University of Technology, Mauritius, and Pro-Vice Chancellor, Marie Jansen van Rensburg from Middlesex University, Mr. Arjun Reddy, co-founder of Hive Singapore and AI Venture Factory. So please welcome our honored speaker and the esteemed panelists on stage.
High dignitaries, esteemed foreign and local delegates, ladies and gentlemen in your respective grades, all protocol observe, good morning. It's a pleasure being here today to moderate this panel on one of the most, I think, exquisite and up-to-date topic, AI in education. And just as a background to it, you would realize that one of the, maybe unwanted, but one of the silver lining of the pandemic was the fast forwarding of AI in education sector. And along with this came this quick development of AI. AI in our everyday world obviously quickly seeped into AI in education. So currently this is being used both as a tool, as a means by hopefully faculty members, lecturers, but also as a tool and a means by students, both to help in their studies or at times to help them not to study. And to discuss on this topic today, this morning, we have the pleasure to have with us, like my esteemed MC said, Professor Johnson, who's the Vice Chancellor of Middlesex University, Mauritius, Dr. Dinesh Hariram, the Director General of UTM, and Mr. Arjun Reddy, who I read defines himself as a passionate AI entrepreneur and the co-founder of AI Venture Factory, amongst others. Time being of essence, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to delve directly. Let's dive into this topic. And I'll have a starting question for Professor Jensen, Mary. What, according to you, are the primary ways in which AI is currently being integrated in the education system? And what immediate impact is it having on teaching and learning?
Thank you, sir. There we go. Good morning. Thank you so much for the question, Professor Kiran. You know, for us at Middlesex, it actually changed everything we do and the way in which we do it. Later this year, in September 2024, we will be introducing a new learning framework because we had to review all our programs to ensure that we include AI. So AI is now included, and I think the previous speaker said it, AI has an impact across all industries. It's expected to change around 80% of all jobs. So AI must be part of the curriculum, and for Middlesex it is. More than that, we have expanded our programs, and a lot of the areas showed earlier on are now programs offered in Mauritius. In fact, we are expanding our campus specifically to offer an engineering degree in mechatronics and robotics. We've added data sciences, we've added data technologies, but more than that, the computer labs are not exclusive to computer sciences students. It's incorporated everywhere, whether it is advertising, whether it is business, whether it is finance, psychology, it is everywhere. So it's embedded in our assessments, learning activities, and formal assessments.
Thank you, Mary. And I believe you've given me this answer, you've given us this answer from this private higher education perspective. Let me ask the same question to Dinesh, who is in charge of a public higher education institution. What is the situation at your place from the public sector perspective?
Thank you, Kiran, and thanks a lot for inviting me to be on this panel. I won't get into what we are doing at UTM, but I think what is important is talk about higher education institutions in general. The mandate that we have, among other things, is obviously knowledge creation through research and other activities that happen within universities. And then we've got knowledge diffusion, which is mainly through conferences, but also through academic programs that we offer, and we have to make sure that the academic programs are aligned with whatever is happening within the external environment. Now, AI has been mentioned as a tool, but I think has also been mentioned yesterday during the keynote as a major disruption. And I firmly believe that we are embarking in an era of disruption for higher education institutions. It's not only thinking about, how this tool or how AI can help us within the process of knowledge creation and diffusion, but how AI is disrupting all these activities. In terms of knowledge creation, which is around research, which goes on within higher education institution, I think it's a very productive tool. We used to spend, months and at times years to find out what is happening in a particular field within higher education in undertaking our research. And today, we spend, hours and probably a few days if the field is more complex to get all the information around the theme within a specific area. And I think that is very productive for researchers, and it's very productive also for industry. And I'm very impressed by the presentation that has been made earlier on by Professor Wei, where if you look at what has been presented, it's basically, it's not about what we can do, it's already what is happening in China. And it's really impressive. And I believe this process, it's industry driven. And I think that's the future. Our universities have for too long been working, in isolation, even at University of Technology Mauritius, and within Mauritius, I can say from the experience that we have, the collaboration with industry has been timid. If industry drives it, working together with universities, we can do marvels. And I think the presentation demonstrated it that, if it is industry-driven, you can see the impact. And Kiran, you always talk about, when you're talking of knowledge creation, what is the impact that we are having? So I think universities have an obligation. Obviously, talking about UTM, we have not been lagging behind. We have integrated the required policies for the adoption of AI. We are very serious about it. We've got a long way to go, but the policies are there. Academic programs have AI integrated within them. We have no choice than to allow students to take advantage, staff to take advantage of all the facilities that AI can offer to us. But we've got to build on that. And I think making a difference in what we do through AI is the way forward.
Thank you, Dinesh. So the education specialist says yes to AI. At least we can embrace it currently as a tool, even though it is creating havoc. I mean, there is disruption. Yes, disruption. We need to have chaos, then only we can have some order. Let me turn to Arjun, because Arjun is from the supply side of what is their demand. How are you, as a entrepreneur, looking or assessing the demand of the current market and integrating AI into that? Education market, of course.
Hi. Right, thanks. It's been an interesting couple of months for us at Hive and AI Venture Factory. And Hive is a company that I co-founded and I run. It offers custom AI solutions to enterprises and teams, and also for personal use as well. So when I started Hive, I started it from Chennai, India, where I found that the AI ecosystem was non-existent. So we started, with the help of the government, a technology business incubator that focuses on AI startups. So that way, we we were able to incubate 7 startups that got their hands dirty and try to do something with AI. That's the best kind of education that I would expect anybody to get in anything. Try to build something from it, and you learn it, like the back of your hand. So what we have done from Hive, and because we are in the university campus, in the campus that we're in, there are 22,000 students there. And 300 of them have become our volunteers for various Frankenstein experiments that we're running. So the thing with AI is that we are finding, from our perspective, that students are the primary drivers of adoption for AI, where, how can this help me finish my homework faster? How can it help me finish this essay faster? And then the teachers are forced to use AI solutions to see if it's plagiarized, to see if it's AI built. So they're kind of forcing the hand of the teaching members. And I guess, that's how they say it. Only when criminals start using knives, the cops have to carry guns. So the students are being the spark for this revolution, and that's a very good thing. Except for a very few teachers who really love what they do, other people are going to be slightly complacent in what they do, and this is going to force everybody to get on even footing. And from what we understood was the need of students. They don't care about ChatGPT. They want solutions for their problems. And so I was a last bench student I had failed 23 subjects in my undergraduation. Yeah, and there was this one amazing professor called Sarfaraz. He came into my life and he changed it. He saw what I was capable of, and he pushed me, and I finished all of my arrears in one semester, got a couple of placements, scholarship, and all of that. So it takes the perfect kind of professor who really loves what he does to change a student's life. And AI is able to do that for everybody in a way that, students learn at their own pace, and each student's learning speed and proficiency is completely custom. So it only makes sense that one human cannot be there for every single student in the class, and they can definitely augment their sessions with AI. And we've done that with something called Muller AI, Muller Teacher, and we launched it on WhatsApp. And on the day of the launch, we had 100,000 users, and completely organic. We don't have money to pay and push it forward. And yeah, we're very happy with the outcome. It's been viral everywhere now.
Thank you, Arjun. But I catch a few words from what you said. What Arjun said is, students want to do their work faster, they want to do it quicker, and it is up to the faculty to check whether it has been ChatGPT'd, if I can use this verb, if it has been done by AI. So let me ask Dinesh and Mary this question. What are the barriers and challenges of integrating AI in a higher education institution? Because I'll pick up on what you said as well, Dinesh. You said what could be done previously in a month or two can nowadays be done in a week or 2 days. I saw a software yesterday that was doing literature review along with my in-text citation. So what are the challenges? I'll ask you the question first. What are the challenges?
As I mentioned, we have implemented a policy, but during the course of discussions on the policy, we realized that it's very challenging. As at date, we don't have a system that can verify, how far or how much of it comes from an AI system. But that's not really the point. At UTM, we look at it completely differently. And for us, what is important is for each academic program, we have got a set of what we call attributes. We can term it as learning outcomes, but attributes are very important. And these attributes have to be tested. And, when we're talking of attributes, it could be in terms of problem solving, it could be in terms of, creativity, innovation, it could be in terms of soft skills, leadership, making presentations, communication, the ability to keep up to date with what is happening in a particular field, and so on and so forth. Now, how do you test that? You know, the question of sitting in an examination room and writing about what leadership is all about is gone. And this is what we are doing. We are no more relying on, you know, what we used to do in terms of assignments or even preparation of a thesis. You know, that can be contracted out to an AI system. It's putting the student in front of an audience and, you know, checking really whether this student has the attributes that we are looking for. And this is the type of, process that we are putting in place. It's not fully there, but that's the way forward. But I would like probably to mention one or two initiatives that we are also doing at UTM. One is all students are trained on entrepreneurship. All students. We've got 3,000 plus students. So all academic programs have a module on entrepreneurship. Not only that, we've got a business incubator which has been set up at the level of the university, and we've got competitions where students having brilliant ideas, brilliant projects, can use the facilities at the level of the business incubator to put in practice, you know, the ideas or the projects that they have in terms of developing prototypes and so on.
Right.
We are also working with, having discussions with SME Mauritius to take forward that initiative. Now, all of that is being done in a, with an objective to allow students to demonstrate the ability to get something done which is concrete. And this is what, you know, for us, this is what I think we should aim at, instead just expecting a student, you know, to pass an examination and have
Thank
it.
you, Dinesh. And what is different at Middlesex? Is there something more to add to what Dinesh said?
So I'll add to what Dinesh said, and I'll break it down into two elements. I think from a student's perspective, it is understanding the skills that's required from students to actually become good employees or entrepreneurs going forward. So we're moving away from rote learning to prompt engineering, from prompt engineering to critical evaluation, right? So it's a different skill set. It's not learn and repeat. More than that, we use more and more technology in our teaching methods. So what's the impact of that on well-being and engagement? So, you know, it's about providing the supportive environment that will make sure students are still engaged, that they still develop the soft skills, but that they are also well, that they are not isolated. The one thing, Dinesh, that you did not mention, which I think is probably the biggest challenge that we face, is the fact that students develop much faster than academics. So you know what, it's not just about developing students, it's also about how do we develop our staff and how do we change their mindsets. How do you tell a professor who believes that students should write with a pen and pencil a paper that is no longer appropriate? So you know, it's a very holistic approach to incorporate AI. It's not just about, you know, the technical knowledge.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you for this, because this leads me to the next question that I have for Arjun. You created what I wrote down here as the world's first autonomous AI university professor, as an app, isn't it? AI-based. How can you ensure, and I'm taking what Dinesh and Mary is saying, and they're saying that we need to have students who've got the personalized training, who can have soft skills, and who can be up there and out there showing their own, you know, what they have, instead of what they have learned by rote. So how can you ensure, using these AI tools, that first, you're not helping to widen the digital divide between those who have access to AI and those who do not have access? That's one kind of digital divide. But also between those who have access, like the students, versus those lecturers who are a little bit, less quick in having access to? What would you answer to that?
Absolutely, that's a very good question. So when we launched Muller, and what we did was we took off-the-shelf LLMs, open source ones, GPL-v2, MIT licensed, so they're free to use. We took a bunch of them and we Franken-merged them. So we took the best parts of multiple such LLMs and we revisited the weights. Then we pre-trained her with the syllabus of this university that we were going to serve for. And we also used retrieval augmented generation, RAG, an algorithm that we came up with for that in a particular framework. And we hosted them out in both Learning Processing Unit, which is LPU, a company called Grok, you may have heard, and also monolithically in A100 and H100 clusters. So we did all of this, and then we came to the point of, okay, how do we get this into the hands of the students? How do we make sure that the maximum number of students benefit from it, and not just a select few? And that's when it hit us, and we chose WhatsApp to be the mode of conduct for this amazing teacher that we came up with. The reason is, even a student in the most remote village in India, so there's a statistic which is, okay, it may be concerning, but there are 900 million mobile devices in India, and 600 million toilets. Okay, so there are a whole lot of smartphones out there in India, and they may be cheap, they won't have a lot of memory, but they will have cheap data coverage. And we managed to take that, and almost everybody's on WhatsApp. So we just borrowed that user base completely, and we allowed Muller to flow through WhatsApp to everybody. So just like a student who's in the heart of a metropolis, the student who's in the hilly ranges of Kodaikanal, who would never have access to quality teachers because all the ambitious ones want to come to the city and then go beyond. And so we managed to give that to them. And she will answer 20 questions per day for free, post which she will say, hey, please pay me via UPI, and I'll teach you more and conduct assessments and so on. And
so what you're saying is, not only there's, I'm going to be mischievous with you, not only there's going to be a digital divide, there's also going to be an equity of access, because those who have money will have access to education while those who do not don't. So I'm just,
best thing, very good thing to poke. So this is the normal plan that we have, and if they cannot pay it and they are an underprivileged person, there is a lot of schemes in the government which we can, because they don't know that, the students don't know the part. So if they say that they cannot afford it, then we will start, she will start asking questions, our autonomous agent. Okay, what is your, may I ask what your caste is? May I ask what your region, and also if they qualify for any of the government subsidies, we will take that from the government and we'll give it to them for free.
All right, now you've piqued my curiosity, and I have a last question for you. If you indicated, and I quote what you said earlier, you said, I am a pathfinder, I am an engineer by degree, I am an entrepreneur by choice, and a research fellow with the government of India by vocation. Wow. And so with all of this, what you have there, what do you think would be the advancement of AI that we could anticipate in the next decade? And how could these potentially transform the classroom experience from an entrepreneur's perspective?
Right. I think it took us 100,000 years. No, wait. From Cro-Magnon to Homo erectus and so on. And so last 10,000 years, we had agriculture. Last 1,000 years, we've had writing and a lot more distributed education. And last 200 years, we've had industrialization. Last 100 years, we've gone atomic. And last 50 years, we've gotten into the age of computers. And the last 20, we've had mobile, and the entirety of human knowledge is in everybody's pockets, in a small rectangle. And within the next 5 years, I believe schools and colleges will not be what they are today. They will only be locations where people can come and socialize and only fulfill assessments. And the whole of teaching will be AI outsourced, and only on collaborative research-oriented, you got to be there and conduct the experiment sort of thing, is where professors will still be needed. Because in 1902, can anybody tell me what the biggest industry in the world was in 1902?
Steel.
Whaling. People were hunting whales, so that that's the only source of oil for the lamps and everything. As soon as they hit petrochemicals in Saudi, that went away. That entire market went away. Nobody was whaling after that at all.
Let me interrupt you here.
Yeah.
Because you said something that I need to catch and send back this side
Yeah,
before the MC cuts the mic and I won't be able to speak further. He said that in the near future, your universities will become social centers where people will come and have social activities and they will be I call it the click generation, where they can learn wherever they are on AI. So how would you, as responsible higher education sector leaders, train or prepare your students to become citizens, employers, employees of tomorrow? How would you do that? Mary, how would you do this?
I wish I had AI to quickly generate an answer here. Look, things are changing at a very, very fast pace. And I actually agree, that's why I say we need to look at skills. But humans are still social beings, and humans like to learn amongst other humans. So I don't think all the training will be outsourced, but I do think technology will play a major role in what we do. In any case, already now, we see students on their cell phones in class not WhatsApping each other or being on Facebook. I'm being told that is really, really not what they do. They Google answers. So I don't think we should ever think that a professor will know it all. There are just so much information out there that we would need to teach them how to make sense out of it in a responsible manner. And you know what? That is what it boils down to. It's responsibility and ethics. Because humans are here to stay, and technology will enhance our life. I'll stop maybe by saying that, from my age, you can see that when I got my first cell phone, it was a board decision to issue it to me. And today, my cell phone is my camera, my bank, my flashlight, my translator, etc., etc. I would never have thought this is possible. And this happened. So AI is here to stay. We should adopt. We should change. And this, it's exciting. I think we should embrace it.
Dinesh, quick word.
I tend to agree with both Mary and Arjun. Coming from the University of Technology, Mauritius, I mentioned we are at a phase of disruption. A lot of people are not really appreciating the extent of that disruption. And I tend to agree with Arjun, who said that, universities, the way they operate today, in 5 years' time will probably not operate that way. And we are fully aware of that. We've got to bring change. We've got to adapt. This is where I agree with Mary. But the education system, and I think as director of tertiary, you're fully aware of that. People are looking at flexibility. People are looking at coming in, taking advantage of what is there in terms of the offer, not necessarily taking advantage of everything. If a degree program takes 3 years, in the future, I don't think all students would be willing to come to the university for 3 years for a degree. We're talking of an era of micro-credentials where students will come, acquire the skills that I mentioned earlier on, acquire those skills and go out and come back again and go out. And that's the new model of tertiary education that we are embarking into. And I also agree, that space, however, will still be required. You will still need to guide, your student population. You will still need to create knowledge, because universities, I mentioned, knowledge creation and knowledge diffusion. the absence of university would mean a void in the system, which will not lead to further, creation of new knowledge. How do we adopt, AI and so on, would be limited if we just remove universities from the equation. So I think we will be there. There will be disruption. We will have a new model. And I think the new model, to me, is very promising. We just have to adapt. It is challenging. It requires a lot of things. I didn't have time to mention, and you mentioned that I missed one point. Capacity building, developing new breed of lecturers at the level of universities, investing on the required technology, having the support of private sector, having the support of government. If we don't ourselves as universities invest on those technologies, how are we going to prepare the future generation for the new industry that is coming? So all of that, the infrastructure within universities and so on, have to be reviewed. And I think the model that we are embarking on is going to be something that people will really appreciate. The dynamics of it is really interesting.
All right, thank you, Dinesh. So what I can hear is that there's going to be changes, there's going to be transformation, it's going to be a social center, but it's going to be an education-driven and education-creating social center. So at least our jobs is safe for the next futures. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said when we started, this is a topic that we cannot do justice to it in 30, 35 minutes. But unfortunately, we have a program to respect, and we've reached the end of the 35 minutes. And one maybe key message that I've got from my three colleagues, panelists here, is that AI is there to stay. We can't live without it. AI is here. And it is maybe up to the education sector to adapt, to show flexibility in changing paradigms, whether in terms of the pedagogies or the andragogies, and to align it with the specificities of the students. Nowadays, we hear that we have students who are TikTok adepts, and that their how do you call that, focus time is 30 seconds or 45 at most. How do we change all of this? And this brings us to the end of this short, sweet, but I think very passionate discussion this morning. May I invite all of you for a round of applause for our panelists, Dr. Ariram, Professor Mary, and Mr. Reddy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bunjan and your esteemed panelists. Our next speaker is Dipti Bisun from the Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance. She will discuss on the future of fintech in Mauritius.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dipti Bisun from the Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance. So, right now we'll talk about the Mauritius International Financial Center, building the future of fintech in Mauritius. A quick glimpse, maybe. The financial services sector is playing a key role in developing the Mauritian economy over more than 30 years. As you can see, we kicked off in 1992, and today we are almost 32 years after the inception of the global business sector in Mauritius. The financial services sector is the second largest contributor to GDP, accounting for 14.1%, and is growing at a rate of 4.8%. The mandate of the Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance is to grow the financial services sector, together with the development of the fintech landscape. Just to tell you that the fintech landscape contributes to around 4% of the GDP. With a vision to make Mauritius a fintech hub for the region, the ministry has come with different action on fintech to match the market dynamics worldwide. A quick view, since 2018, when it was then announced in the budget, what has been done in the fintech landscape? We started with the regulatory sandbox licensing in 2018. We continued with different licenses given by the Financial Services Commission, which is the regulator. And where are we going in 2024? There's the upcoming EKYC, a policy guideline for the national fintech strategy. How we come, good morning, the Honorable Minister. How we come to the fintech in Mauritius. So in 2020, there was a technical committee set up under the Ministry of Financial Services with relevant stakeholders from the sector. And we found there were certain issues whereby the ministry brought the following solutions. The first thing, Mauritius is among the first countries in the world to come with a regulatory framework compliant to the FATF Recommendation 15. Mauritius has established recently an observatory of virtual asset activities. We found that awareness on fintech and training was missing. The Financial Services Fund and the Financial Services Institute come up with awareness campaigns and trainings, capacity building for the sector. The safeguard of the users of financial technology was crucial. And what we found is that fintech was being adopted in silos. And to ensure a concerted approach, the ministry is currently engaging with international experts to draft a national fintech strategy. So, these were the issues, the solution provided. Now, what next? What is the future of fintech? The Ministry of Financial Services and Good Governance is currently engaging with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, to provide assistance in developing a national fintech strategy for Mauritius. The national fintech strategy will comprise of an ecosystem assessment of the current state of development of the fintech sector, a national vision and strategy for the development of the sector, and its implementation. To do so, a technical committee is being set up under the aegis of the ministry with the collaboration of other stakeholders to review the policy guidelines, which will serve as a framework of common rules, principles, and best practices standards to guide the development of the national fintech strategy. The second thing is a fintech city. The vision of the government is to make Mauritius a fintech hub for the region. It was observed that startups in Africa require three main things. First, access to capital. Second, appropriate regulatory framework. And third, the infrastructure. Mauritius can provide these three things. To address these problems, the ministry is coming with the setting up of a fintech city to attract startups, both established and new ones, to attract new startups from Africa, and to enhance access to venture capitalists. Incentives are being worked out in parallel to attract these startups. Current incentives that exist at the level of the EDB, we have three main incentives: the investment certificate, the investor certificate, and the residency. Just to go quickly on the investment certificate, To show you the eligibility, you can see at 2.3, innovative technologies and industries fall under the eligibility criteria. And what are the incentives being given? The main ones are rebates, exemptions, and preferential rates in relation to taxes, duties, fees, charges, but also facilities in terms of grants and exemption in relation to land and building infrastructure and public facilities. This is for the investment certificate. Now for the investor certificate, what are the eligibility criteria? There are several ones. The two main ones that we picked for today is the high-tech manufacturing and the digital technology and innovation. What are the incentives? 8-year tax holiday for new companies, exemption from payment of registration duty and land transfer tax, payment of VAT on plant machinery and equipment are exempt. The third incentive is on the residency. There are different types of permit being given by the EDB. The investor occupation permit, the innovator occupation permit, and the self-employed occupation permit. As you can see, these are the criteria. And please note that they get a 10-year residency, including their dependents. Now, we come to something quite interesting. Our ministry is currently working on a fintech consultative workshop. Why? We want to have a concerted approach with all the stakeholders in the industry. And in this respect, the fintech consultative workshop is planned for the 3rd of June 2024. If you're interested, which I'm sure you are, you can scan the QR code to express your interest and join us for the FinTech Consultative Workshop. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dipti Bissoon. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Honorable Sumildot Bola, Minister of Financial Services and Good Governance, and Honorable Deepak Balgobin, Minister of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, our next esteemed speaker is Honorable Sumildot Bola. With over 25 years of experience in financial leadership, including roles as a chartered accountant and financial director, his profound understanding of financial intricacies enriches his leadership. We eagerly anticipate his keynote address, enriched by his commitment to fortifying the stability and integrity of the financial services sector. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage Honorable Sumildot Bola.
Thank you, MC. My colleague, Honorable Deepak Balgobin, Minister of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, Permanent Secretary, Senior Staff of the Ministry of Information Technology and Financial Services as well, Honorable Members, Excellencies, dignitaries, representatives from the public and private sectors, industry operators, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Indeed, I am very pleased to be in your midst today at the AI Summit. I'm particularly delighted that we are all gathered on a common platform to discuss about Mauritius' AI landscape and the future of banking and financial services, as well as fintech in our country. As we gather here, one thing remains clear. The AI revolution is not a distant dream. It is happening now, transforming industries and revolutionizing economies. In the words of Ray Kurzweil, one of the foremost visionaries in the field, and I quote, artificial intelligence will reach human levels by around 2029. Follow that out further to say 2045, we will have multiplied the intelligence, the human biological machine intelligence of our civilization 1 billion-fold, unquote. These words encapsulate the amazing potential that lies before us. And to be honest, this potential is both exciting and daunting as well. In our respective roles, we are called upon to explore ways on how every innovative breakthrough or application could enhance our productivity and capabilities to progress as a nation. Ladies and gentlemen, digitalization of the financial services is at the top of government's agenda. You will recall, Budget 2018-2019 had a series of measures to foster innovative entrepreneurship. AI was harnessed to establish a new Mauritius innovation and entrepreneurship framework for young inventors and entrepreneurs to push their ideas into the market and refine them. A high-level committee was also set up to consider all issues related to the regulatory sandbox licensing for fintech activities and to provide guidance to stakeholders on the functioning of this framework. Presently, AI is all set to reshape the financial services sector by driving innovation, improving efficiency, detecting fraud, and enhancing the customer experience. In the fast-paced world of finance, where decisions are made in the blink of an eye, and markets are constantly evolving, AI offers a beacon of hope. Stakeholders of the financial services sector can make more informed decisions and enhance operational efficiency through AI and machine learning. However, it is important that AI and machine learning be adopted ethically, that is, according to proper compliance, governance, and risk management. Significant efforts have been made in moving Mauritius on the AI and fintech journey. In 2021, the Financial Services Commission, FSC, implemented a full-fledged set of rules which allows for the conduct of robotic advisory services which are enabled by AI in Mauritius. This innovative framework has the potential to strengthen the wealth tech segment of financial services in Mauritius. Additionally, in 2023, the FSC launched an AI-powered due diligence platform in collaboration with the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council, MRIC. The platform uses AI to automate the due diligence process for license applications, making it faster and more efficient. The FSC is exploring the latest trends and developments in the field of AI, including generative AI, in order to identify new opportunities that could enhance its regulatory and supervisory processes. In the same line, fintech is rapidly transforming the financial sector landscape, creating opportunities for more inclusive and efficient financial services and promoting economic development. In 2014, the FSC signed an MOU on consultation, cooperation, and exchange of information related to the supervision of alternative investment fund managers directive entities with the Autorité des marchés financiers. The MOU consolidates cooperation with France, especially in the field of financial services and fintech. The International Financial Services Centers Authority of India and the FSC have also signed an MOU to enhance the cooperation with the Gujarat International Financial Tech City, GIFT City, Special Economic Zone. Ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology has also emerged as a game changer in the financial landscape. One of the most significant applications of blockchain is asset tokenization, where real-world assets such as real estate, art, commodities, and securities are represented digitally through tokens on a blockchain network. This innovation has unlocked a plethora of opportunities and efficiencies across various industries, redefining traditional asset ownership and investment paradigms. Another important application of blockchain technology is cryptocurrencies. It enables direct online payments between parties without the need of intermediary financial institutions. Cryptocurrencies are gaining recognition as an alternative investment asset. Mauritius, with its robust regulatory framework and dedication to innovation, is strategically positioned to capitalize on this emerging market segment. While the FSC focuses on the business conduct of its licensees, it also enables them to innovate through the use of blockchain and other emerging technologies. It is in this perspective that the FSC has made in its topmost priority to review its financial legislative landscape to ensure that it remains future-proof and technologically agnostic, flexible, and resilient to enable the development of innovation-driven financial services. You may wish to know that in 2023, the FSC launched its FinTech and Innovation webpage to meet the diverse needs of the financial services and FinTech industry. Amongst the other initiatives implemented by the Financial Services Commission are the recognition of virtual assets, including cryptocurrencies, as early as 2018, the issuance of guidance for the regulatory treatment of security token offerings and security token trading platforms, the introduction of a regulatory sandbox authorization regime for fintech companies, including those operating in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space, the implementation of the Virtual Asset and Initial Token Offering Services Act, the VATOS Act, in 2022, the issuance of guidance notes on the regulatory treatment of non-fungible tokens, the release of new regulatory framework for spot commodity market and intermediaries, the issuance of consultation papers on topics such as metaverse and decentralized finance. In addition to these regulatory developments, the FSC invested in a state-of-the-art blockchain analytics tool. Its aim is to assist in the conduct of investigation and forensic analysis of fraudulent blockchain and virtual assets transactions. There are also other fintech concepts which have been established, namely peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding, cloud computing, smart contracts, and open finance, amongst others. Ladies and gentlemen, as it may be observed from the above, the initiatives and advancements do not only showcase our commitment to innovation, but also position the jurisdiction as a burgeoning fintech hub on the global stage. I have no doubt that the AI Summit will deliver on its promise through insightful presentations, thought-provoking panels, and engaging conversations. And these discussions will hopefully enable us to gain a deeper understanding of the transformating power of AI to drive economic prosperity, job creation, and sustainable development for years to come. Let me seize this opportunity to announce that my ministry will be hosting the next FinTech Consultative Workshop during the first week of June. And we definitely look forward to welcome our stakeholders and partners with the same enthusiasm. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Bola, for your insightful speech. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now explore AI in FinTech, the future of banking in Mauritius, moderated by Mr. Jamshid Ali Kadaru, Senior Manager of FinTech and Innovation at the Financial Services Commission, Mauritius, with over 2 decades of regulatory expertise and distinguished qualification. Mr. Kadaru's influential role in shaping regulatory frameworks and fostering innovation in finance is unmatched. Our esteemed panelists include Mr. Sandeep Mohapatra, Head of Digital Transformation and Technology, ABSA Bank, Mauritius, Mr. Sébastien Leblanc, Chief Growth Officer, MIPS, Ms. Jessica Naga, Co-founder and CEO of Mindex Group, Mr. Rajesh Mirjankar, Managing Director and CEO of Kia AI, Mr. Sanjay Margar, CEO of FinClub, Mr. Ashwin Ramphul, EIO of State Bank, Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our esteemed speakers and panelists on stage.
Thank you, Shalini, and good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am indeed greatly pleased to moderate this panel today. And I must thank, above all, the organizers of this great AI Summit. So the discussion of this panel will be centered around how AI is set to shape the future of finance, both from and within Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, the adoption of artificial intelligence within the financial services industry, as we have all witnessed nowadays, is evolving rapidly, especially as financial businesses are increasingly employing greater levels of technologies and automation to deliver their services. Different segments of the financial services industry have thus adopted AI to varying degrees and for various purposes. With this background, in my humble opinion, financial service providers and technology companies are therefore likely to continue adopting AI to not only save time and money, but to also promote accessibility and regulatory compliance, as well as for many other good reasons that we have learned yesterday through the different interventions of experts. However, AI challenges and risks, as well as consequences for employment, still remain. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I would now invite the first panelist, Mr. Sandeep from the ABSA Bank, Mauritius, to shed for us light on how AI has impacted digital transformation for commercial banks generally And if you can also enlighten us, what have been the key areas whereby AI are driving innovation in the practice?
Thank you, Jamshed, and good morning, everyone. I think as a first panelist, before I dive into the use cases of the international banks, let me take a moment to simplify AI very, very quickly. AI is basically recreating human intelligence in a machine, very simply put. And at the core of the ability of AI lies its singular ability of pattern recognition. And AI can discern patterns through very complex structured data like a spreadsheet or a database, or unstructured data like a picture, a video, and so on and so forth. And what it does is it produces insights but can also therefore extrapolate the future through these patterns. And this is where it is really transforming industries at a very, very large scale across industries. Now, coming back to what we all do in this room, right, on a day in, day out basis. We are all decision makers, executives, leaders in our own field. And if we broadly classify our cognitive process, it can be broadly classified to two big buckets. The first is what we call experience, right? And what experience allows us is to actually identify patterns, right? And should I hire this guy? So I'm looking at my patterns of the past to say, would he be a cultural fit? Should I undertake this business case, right? So at its very essence, we are doing pattern recognition as humans through experience. The second bit of the human cognitive process is slightly more complex, which we call as an intuition or gut feel that guides our judgment to take an informed decision. That's mostly through tacit knowledge, that's mostly through situational awareness that is honed through years. And why I'm saying this, because if we understand at the core of what AI does, then it's much easier to understand how it uses its abilities across various use cases. Now, coming back to the core question of international banks, right? So I broadly see 5 big areas in which international banks are actually globally applying AI. The first one is the obvious one, which is around customer experience. And we've seen plethora of AI tools, including chatbots, to assist customers day in, day out. And again, language is a pattern, right? So you can use unstructured data through natural language processing and find out whether it was a query, whether it was a small talk, whether it was a transactional intent, and you can actually take it to the next level. AI is also very heavily used in terms of mobility or low-touch digital experiences through face recognition, voice recognition, that eases convenience, security of the banks, but does it in a very customer-friendly manner. The second one is, again, an obvious candidate of process automation, right? So in whatever we are doing, be it account opening, be it credit assessments, be it regulatory compliance, anything that follows a pattern is repetitive in nature. It can do it faster, do it better than most human beings, and it can generate humongous amount of efficiency in terms of man-hours saved. The third one is about mitigating risk. Again, patterns, right? Anything that breaks the pattern is an anomaly in the system, and therefore it can alert users to figure out what's going on, right? And it can be applied in areas of cybersecurity, fraud monitoring, transaction monitoring, and so on and so forth. The fourth and the fifth one are quite related. So the fourth one is obviously data analytics. So obviously it can go through scrapes of data and sometimes even discern patterns which can elude human observation. So it can define intelligence itself, right? To say, and it can then inform, because of the insights that it generates, what customer behaviors are emerging, what customer pocket exists, and therefore what product and services should you really craft to be able to meet those requirements. And finally is predictive analysis. Because you know all of this, and you can predict industry trends, market trends, consumer behavior, credit behavior in banks especially, how do you therefore apply that intelligence to predict what's going to happen? And that's where the value is. So in essence, enhancing human productivity, propelling innovation, and technology, so to say, helping humans aspire, meet their greatest aspirations.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for these very elaborate explanations. Maybe I will take push the boundaries a bit further and would like to invite you to inform our audience as to how the Absa Bank Mauritius as a bank has in practice started to move into this venture of AI?
Yes, Jamshid. So at APSA, we were the pioneers, if I may use that word, in identifying AI's game-changing ability. And 5 years back, we built a very modern technology stack on cloud, a very modern infrastructure that was interlaced with emerging tech, including AI, to be able to launch the first humanoid banking in Mauritius by the name of Abby, right? And it was powered with, among many things, with face recognition, voice recognition, IoT, natural language processing, computer vision, and the like. But Abby was just the bedrock of what we were trying to do. Now, again, going back to the first question, right? We had 5 use cases, again, broad use cases in mind, to say, how can we therefore use this technology just beyond a humanoid, beyond what we launched as WhatsApp banking, beyond what we did in terms of chatbots, and so on? How do we really take this to the next level? And then talking about customer experiences first, we had the big challenge of saying, why do people queue up at the branches to be able to conduct transactions, to be able to open their accounts, for example, right? And we came out with something called APSA Digi account, which again did 2 things, right? So with the help of face recognition, liveness detection, computer vision to look through documents and document analysis, we were able to conduct KYC in a humanless manner. Oh. So it saved not just the bank a lot of time and made us efficient, but we passed on that benefit to our customers, right? And the customers benefited from a zero balance account, no maintenance fee, no ATM withdrawal charges, and so on and so forth. Again, propelling financial inclusion. The second one was around DG loans, for example, right? And we again applied the same methodology, but this time it was much trickier because we had to apply deep learning on computer vision for salary slips, for example, which don't match for any of us, right? And you have to make sense and almost take out 200 odd variables out of bank statement and salary statements to be able to do credit assessments, right? And we've cracked that and we've just introduced that, again being the first in the market to do so. The second obvious one is around process automation, right? So all of this took away, last year we measured it, it was in excess of 20,000 man hours from our bank, which were actually used to consume doing KYC, credit assessments, and so on and so forth. And we've done this through a very low-code, no-code technology, which is now used across the bank to save multiple man hours to do it in a straight-through process. Again, the third one, we use artificial intelligence also in our cybersecurity, in our fraud and transaction monitoring. Again, protecting our customers' interest, defending the bank's reputation. The fourth and the fifth one, we are really gearing up now, which is around data analytics and predictive. So we are now in the process of figuring out how can we hyper-personalize some of our communications, look through customer patterns and behaviors to be able to get to a more targeted, more contextual approach rather than a one-size-fits-all. And these are some of these use cases that we're using.
Absolutely, very fascinating. I'm sure it's a very dynamic environment in which you are presently evolving. So now I move on to Ashwin. Ashwin, as a professional of another systemically important bank in Mauritius, can you please tell us how AI has been an important factor or driver within the SBM Group's strategic plan for driving forward innovation in Mauritius and in any other jurisdictions whereby the banks are operating nowadays?
Yeah. Thanks, Jasmine. Good morning, everyone. So SBM, as a domestically systemic important bank in Mauritius, has to ensure a number of things, right? Be it regulatory, be it servicing our customers. And also as a group, we are present in other jurisdictions which are as important as well. So in terms of our strategy, we operate in different markets, and The model we adopt in these different markets are based on the specificities of this market, right? So I'll just take the example of SBM India, for instance.
Yeah.
So our model there, our mode of operation is very much different from the traditional banks you would know operating elsewhere. SBM India is probably now what we can call a fully fintech bank. We work with more than 60 to 70 fintechs through the services that is offered. That model has allowed the bank to rapidly, since inception, to penetrate the Indian market quite rapidly. In Mauritius, for instance, we have been accelerating our digital journey through the use of multiple technologies. You would recall a few years back, COVID hit Mauritius and we were forced into lockdown. And that lockdown had accelerated our digital footprint. Just as in terms of figures, during lockdown itself, our online transaction increased by more than 32% within a week. We augmented our offerings in multiple areas. See, our customers were restrained from movements, were at home, but still have banking needs. So we shifted the number of our branch offerings to the comfort of their home.
Very briefly and ask you, does that challenging time which you referred to, which is a COVID pandemic, was it a precursor for the bank to engage more deeply in the emerging technology side? Because this is a bit the debate.
It was not a precursor as such, it was more an accelerator, I would say. And the context of lockdown brought us in a situation where we had to very rapidly, overnight, over 1 day or 2 days, rethink the way we offer our service. So a number of our services which were in branch were within 2 days, 3 days transferred online so that we could continue to serve our customers. There was the issue of contact, physical contact, of effecting transaction. Over a weekend, we launched then a feature, what we call at the time Easy Pay, where people could effect contactless payment at the comfort of their home. So it was more of an accelerator, I would say.
Do you have, thank you so much, Ajrin. Do you have some case studies which you can share with us today concerning some applications or even testing of technologies such as blockchain or any other types of emerging technologies, for example, AI itself, which you have been engaging within the SBM Bank? And
yeah. So a couple of years ago, we set up a digital lab, right, in-house. So that lab has really picked up now in terms of effectiveness. So every year we spare a significant amount of our budget in terms of new technologies. Right now, I mean, a number of solutions have been delivered in-house, making use of new technologies, decision-making algorithm. We have implemented an in-house credit rating solution, fully conceived in-house, based on a specific algorithm that are helping us derive proper ratings. Now, moving into another area which we are currently exploring and making good progress, we are doing a number of things in-house, and the use of augmented coding through AI is something that is really very, I would say, freely available in terms of you don't need much in terms of human interventions to do coding and develop solutions. So augmented coding is something we are currently working in. And going forward, as a bank, I think these kind of initiatives are important to allow us to make good progress. See, there's a number of fintechs in the industry that is going to continue, whilst in one specific geography we are engaging fully with fintech. That model is easily extended to our other geographies. But that is not the only, let's say, avenue we are having. We are also trying to maximize a number of potential internally. And that requires a number of things. So it requires a rethink of our operating model. That is very important. AI solution or blockchain solution or any new emerging technology solution will not function on its own and bring the desired result. There's a fundamental rethinking of the operating model that needs to be there. Capacity building needs to be there. We have done a number of robotic automation of our processes. Then what is that impact on the workforce? What do you do with your current workforce? You need to reskill them, deploy them in more value-added tasks. So all these aspects cannot be overlooked. It all has to be in a consolidated strategy to make sure that we reap the proper benefits of new technologies.
Thank you both, Sandeep and Ashwin, for your enlightening views from the banking perspective. So for now, we'll stay with the right wingers, because payment and banking is intrinsically linked. So my next question will be for Sébastien. Therefore, well, Sébastien, how do you see AI really shaping the future of both local and cross-border payment services?
Hello. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Jamshid. First of all, thank you for this photo. I don't understand. This photo is always following me, but it was a 10 kilos away photo of me. And thank you for that. I'm always surprised when I see me. And you said smart things, really smart things. And I have almost nothing to say, except that we are really living exciting times.
Definitely.
I'm sure that in the room here, there's a lot of people who were excited by ChatGPT, okay? 2023, we saw what? We saw the smashing arrival of natural language, you know, these LLM, natural language, because AI was existing since long ago, before even Alan Turing. I don't remember the date exactly, but an old guy, I guess this guy, Alan Turing. But with 2023, we saw the arrival of natural language, so as an interface. What I call an interface is like a programmer has coding to interface with a computer. The interface is now just natural language, plus the big data analysis and APIs. These three things together in 2023 made my job, my industry, the payment industry, change completely. I do not work anymore, Jamaraj. No, I don't work.
Oh.
ChatGPT, please do that. He does that. No, I still work a bit. So there's three categories of people who were really touched at core with this natural language approach of AI. First, our technicians, the coders, because in payment industry we have payment gateways and we must program it. So first the coders, I will explain why. The end users also, the end users of our products. And I will insist a bit on that also, our business development unit. The business development unit, and these three types, categories of people can now focus on logic. logic, pure logic, and leave, I call it the administrative and technology bureaucracy to the AI, you know. Just example about the technicians. Before the rising of natural language, my technicians, I'm also a technician, I was coding, I'm still coding, but now I can code faster and with more security because my code, I have restless assistant, which is ChatGPT, for example. Hey, Mr. ChatGPT, does this code has security faults? Is this code optimized? Hey, you are a bad programmer, Mr. Sébastien. This code is comment on dit, pourri net. So, voilà. Now also for the end users, we were talking about inclusiveness. The end users, anybody in Mauritius, but in the world now, can, using these tools, just ask a question. I ask a question to LLM with a natural language, and I have an answer based, and you were talking about unstructured data also, about unstructured data. Now, every SME in Mauritius, using, for example, the back office of MIPS, can ask in natural language, hey, Mr. MIPS, in fact, our bot is called MIPSIA. MIPSIA, MIPSIA, voilà. Hey, MIPSIA, who are my debtors this month? Who is, or even predictive, what do you think that next month, Mr. Mipsia, Mrs. Mipsia, in fact it's a girl, Mrs. Mipsia, what do you think that next month will be my turnover, for example? And now just in natural language, even someone who doesn't know how works Excel can have insights, valuable insights on his business. Hey, the price of this product is not high enough because you are making the payout, you are making losses on this. So I guess that in my business and also in business development, because my business payments, therefore I need merchants, and merchants need hopefully our services. If they don't need me, I do not have job. And the business development, they must onboard merchants. But more and more the technology are becoming affordable for merchants. More and more merchants are coming to us. There are approximately 100,000 or 150,000 merchants in Mauritius. Only 20,000 approx are digitally equipped to accept payments. Going 100,000, keep away the guys who don't want to keep cash, you know, to have, comment on dit ça, optimisation fiscale, fiscal optimization. We don't speak about these guys, but the genuine merchants who want to digitalize themselves, they will flood us for onboarding. And at MIPS, we just last week finished MIPSIA, in fact, but the bot MIPSIA that works on WhatsApp. Somebody else was talking about WhatsApp just previously. You can do your onboarding and eKYC from A to Z directly on WhatsApp with a bot that can even send you your pre-filled and pre-signed contracts also. This is for what? Just to cater with the flood that is coming. There is 100,000 of merchants to onboard in Mauritius. We can't ask 100,000 people to come and sign a paper. And I think I have finished for this question.
Okay, you've said so much, Mr. Mips. So thank you so much for all your very kind insights. So thank you, Sebastian. I was joking. For your very valuable comments. I will now turn towards Sanjay, who is a pioneer, I can say, in the alternative financial markets. Sanjay is the MD of CEO of FinClub, which is the first duly licensed peer-to-peer lending operator with the Financial Services Commission in Mauritius. So, Sanjay, can you please share your vision with the audience today as to how do you see peer-to-peer lending evolving for the next 5 years? And moreover, with this advent of AI that we are all discussing on this panel this morning, maybe you can also enlighten us particularly about your growth strategy to maintain the competitive edge of FinClub within the peer-to-peer lending sector.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jamshid. Thank you very much for inviting us, and good morning, everyone. As mentioned, I am from FinClub, the founder. We have been operational for about just over 2 years now. You asked about, the peer-to-peer lending market. Basically, a study by the Financial Market Insights estimate that globally, in 2022, the market peer-to-peer lending represent about $517 billion. And by, in 10 years, that amount is going to rise to about $1.7 trillion. So you can, a growth rate, a compounded growth rate by about 12.5%, which, as you can see, it's a really fast growing and quite a big market. If you look at Africa alone, for example, the African Development Bank estimate that SMEs, 90% of businesses in Africa are SMEs and employs about 80% of the workforce. They have a finance gap of about 421 billion USD. And we all know that African companies, African SMEs are very much underserved insofar as access to finance is concerned. So in that, how do we, how is FinClub navigating? So as, since our inception, since we started the operation, we have received something like 565 million rupees of loan application. Actually, 6,737 applications representing 565 million rupees. Out of that, 909 loans were approved, which represent about 85 million rupees. And you can already work it out. The ratio is about 15%. Now, as I'm talking, you can also visit our website on your mobile, finclub.mu. You will obviously get a lot more information and data. Our loan ranges from, for individual, ranges from 10,000 rupees to 500,000, and for SMEs, from 50,000 to 1 million rupees. Now, you would say, who gives loans of 10,000 rupees? Obviously, many financial institutions would abstain. It's not that they don't want to give that kind of loan, but it's that the amount of work required just to open a dossier by far exceed that loan amount of 10,000 rupees. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense for them. But for us, we obviously have strategized our plan to make sure that we are able to cater even those people going up to people looking for 500,000 rupees. Basically, that is because we have put the customer very much at the centerpiece of FinClub's. What's our objective? Number one, access to finance, inclusive finance. Remember that the average Mauritian earns about 37,500 rupees. The minimum wage is about 16,500. So not necessarily everyone has a financial footprint. Not necessarily everyone has access to finance. And obviously, it is important to create that path. And on the other side, people who have money, would like to invest, I'm sure you would like your money to work harder for you. And this is what we are assisting. How we do that is, if you look at our website, for example, the interest rate we are paying it ranges from 8.5% and goes to 14%, depending on the risk of on the loan that you are investing. Now, if you think that's high, wait, because if you are reinvesting so that you are compounding your investment, that return can go up to 18, 20 to 20% actually. So it's quite phenomenal.
Excuse me, Sanjay. I just wanted to recenter the debate around how is FinClub particularly or especially leveraging on AI as a digital enabler for allowing your company to achieve all these impressive figures and growth.
Thank you, Jamshid. Well, basically, as I mentioned, given the high volume of application and the agility we require, it is therefore important that we develop the required tool to expedite the process. Now, automation, definitely. For example, for lender, you don't have to come to our place. You know, we can do an onboarding completely, 100% online. For loan application, if you apply for a loan, number one, if you want money from me, first I would like to know exactly who you are and to be certain that you are the person you are claiming to be. So basically, we have developed FinID, which is our identity verification and compliance tool, basically KYC and so on. But the FinID is able to use AI to ascertain that, for example, if you have uploaded your ID, we should be able to identify whether that ID has been tampered with, or whether other document that has been uploaded has not been tampered with, because it's so easy to be able to tamper, you know, in this age of Adobe and so on, you can very easily edit your. That's one, insofar as the identity is concerned, and obviously fraud detection. Secondly, once I know who you are, I want to know whether you have the capacity to repay back the loan. So we have developed FinScore, which is our automated ML, machine learning driven underwriting process. Now, if somebody has, you know, earning 16,500 is applying for a loan, you might not necessarily have all the digital for the financial footprint. So we need alternative information. Obviously, we need the financial information from, for example, the Bank of Mauritius, the MCIB from the Bank of Mauritius, looking at the bank statements and so on. Talking about bank statements, for example, we have devised a tool where we are now able to read a bank statement, to analyze that bank statement, and within a few seconds to summarize that bank statement, whether it's a 3 months bank statement, 6 month bank statement, or in the case of an SME, you're talking about 12 months data. Imagine 5 or 10 pages of bank statement that can be analyzed within a few seconds. Now, basically, what is the basis of FinScore? And as I mentioned, number one, obviously, we have to look at the financial footprint, the financial data obtained from MCIB, to ascertain that you have the financial capacity to repay back a loan. The second family of parameters that we are looking is basically, for example, socio-demographic information. What sector you are working, for how long you have been working, whether you own your own house, et cetera, et cetera. If, for example, you know, if you look at people in the hospitality sector.
Sanjay,
yeah.
You will have 30 more seconds
right.
To
so
conclude.
People working in the hospitality sector, basically you, some time back it was so easy to get a loan. Then COVID came around, you know, decimated the sector, decimated you know, your loan capacity to get finance. So we are also looking. And finally, we're also looking at behavioral. For example, whether you have check bounce, whether you are involved in betting, you know. It is important for us, for example, to be able to ascertain those information. And our tool, AI-driven, we are able to pick that information and help us make informed decisions.
Thank you very much for your visionary comments, as always, Sanjay. I will now turn to another very passionate fintech enthusiast lady. I have the pleasure to introduce Mrs. Jessica Naga, who is also witnessing AI developments in the virtual assets space almost in real time. So, Jessica, can you please enlighten us today as to what are some of the key innovation opportunities that you're seeing in the virtual asset sector nowadays?
Thank you very much, Jamshid, for inviting me. And if you will allow me, before I start, can I just take the temperature of the crowd so I know who I'm talking to and whether they are pro virtual asset or not? So the minister, on the backdrop of what the minister said, that Mauritius wants to go fully digital, supportive of fintech, and cryptocurrency, use the word that we try not to use, how many people here are pro virtual asset and crypto? Right.
Can we have
very, very few, very, very few. I think it's time to look at things differently. I will answer one question and then I'll move to what you said. Compliance for virtual asset is very, very similar to compliance for traditional assets. There are additional risks, there are additional factors, it moves faster, and therefore there are additional things for us to look at. At Mindex, for example, we will do KYC, KYT, KYB, wallet, crypto, smart contract vetting, depending on the transaction. But traditionally, you look at the risk, what's moving, can the client afford it, what is the risk profile? So a lot of people here have addressed this. We do the same things, except that we use technology because we have to, and we use AI because it allows things to move faster. The minister touched on it as well, so I was very excited to hear that now he's talking asset tokenization. So for us, innovation is coming in that space. So tokenization of assets of any kind. What is incredibly exciting for us in Mauritius is that not only we've pioneered Vitus, and that's what we talk about, but that our legal framework is complete. So, and it's very, very clear. So if you are a security token, you fall under the Securities Act. So it's almost as if it's technology neutral. It falls under the Securities Act. If you are a virtual asset, so a non-security, representation of value, and for a lawyer, that's pretty much anything in the world, is a virtual asset potentially. So everything is regulated. And therefore, you can trade, you can store, you can list assets so much more easily. Mauritius has spoken for a long time about being the exchange center for Africa. It's very difficult for us to do that when we're not on the continent. But now, with the ability to digitalize and store and trade, and that becomes the asset representing the underlying real-world asset, it makes Mauritius really a potential to be the exchange center. Now that we meet the 40 FATF recommendation, now that we have banks talking about going digital and looking at new technologies, I think there is huge potential. So for me, everything rotates around asset tokenization and what you can do with it.
Jessica, maybe as a licensed virtual asset service provider, have you thought about how AI can furthermore or exponentially be added into your actual business operations to drive forward your company's growth?
I mean, any company that has data, has data can use AI. So what is AI? I mean, Sandeep talked about it really well, so he's taken a lot of the interesting things I wanted to say, so thank you for that. But that's it. If you are a data company, which Mindex very much is, so we are a company, we're the first licensed VASP in Mauritius, very proud of this. We are the first digital custodian of Africa. We are a securities exchange, a virtual asset marketplace, a digital custodian, and a clearinghouse. So we can create, store, and trade virtual assets of any kind. And people ask us, why did you go so wide? It's because there is no liquidity in Africa. There's no secondary trading. So if you go after only one type of asset, you limit the possibility of raising capital, of making bankable projects. We wanted to go as wide as possible, but fully regulated. It took us 5 years to get our licenses, so it wasn't an easy ride. We love the FSE, but it's difficult.
We also love you. It's reciprocal.
It's not an easy ride, but today it allows us to do all of that. And therefore, you have huge amount of data now. People are trading real time. The first time I read the word atomic swap, I fell in love again. Wow, what is that? What it is, it's a barter system. It is exchanging an asset for another without a means of exchange in between. It's instant. So when you have instant transaction, fractionalized, so lots of small transactions and lots of people trading, you have a lot and a lot of data. And with data, when you apply AI over it, I mean, my interest in AI started with looking at chess playing and the fact that, a chess software that had never learned chess from any human beat the other software in 3 hours. So it's self-learned. I mean, one of the things that humans think is someone who plays chess is super clever. Well, not really.
It's
because
really
in 3 hours,
unbelievable what AI is doing, yeah.
so if it can do that, then you put this around an ecosystem of huge data, then you can create incredible things. I think what we need to talk about also, which we haven't mentioned, is the securities and the concerns and the risks associated with it. So a lot of people are trying to put software over their whole business and not looking at intrinsic biases and stuff within AI software built.
We'll have the opportunity in the second round of questions, whereby you can continue to elaborate. So for now, with your kind permission, I will just ask to move on to another towering AI personality, Rajesh. So I will invite your insights now as a seasoned AI solutions provider, a well-established one. So Rajesh, beyond AI, what are the other forms of technological advancement which you see will have a transformative impact on the future of the fintech industry?
Thank you, Jamshed.
Generally,
Good afternoon, everyone. I think we've dealt into what artificial intelligence can deliver to fintech as such, and there are various variants and its applications across the board when it comes to fintech. From a perspective of other technologies, we've looked at the extension. So two aspects that are key to fintech is inclusion. And so when you look at financial inclusion, the need for an outreach is necessary. Definitely. And that's where APIification will be necessary. The extension of APIs and how accessible you are to your clients will be important. The second factor is with regards to the aspect of ease of use of technology, which is where the front ends come into play. So generative AI has made use of technology much better in that way. And why I say that is because when we looked at artificial intelligence way back in 2 decades ago when we wrote the first algorithms for RegTech solutions, it was for geeks. And over a period of time, the use of artificial intelligence has now come down to saying that it should be used by everyone. And I think somewhere generative AI has been the smartphone moment for artificial intelligence. Yeah. What I mean to say is that when the smartphones arrived, mobile commerce or mobile economy has seen a big boom post that. And that's how generative AI is going to now drive the use of AI across the board. So when we talk about that, the client being a user of AI is going to come into play for fintech as well. And that's where I think generative AI is going to be useful in multiple areas. One, in terms of channels being used. Two, in terms of understanding of the products. So currently we see that fintech is able to offer a product and clients have the ability to take it on or not. It's going to flip around a bit where generative AI will say that the client now has the demand, the client will ask for a product, and then the fintech has to respond. And so this is going to be one change in technology, that you have generative AI from the other end.
So what you're saying is like all these latest tendencies within the AI remit are likely to have a major impact going forward on the open finance ecosystem as well as on the Web3 environment, because you're talking about the plugging of API, seamless plugging, and all those AI transferring the capabilities directly to the clients.
Absolutely. You in fact spoke the next sentence I was going to say, is that we are going to see a migration or rather an upgrade into how an open banking is going to move to open finance, which it already has in the way fintechs have come in. Yeah. And that's going to generally go on to be open economy, where you will have other industries participating seamlessly into the interconnected world as what we call as the APIs plus AI plus various other infrastructure that we build, including accessibility. So when we look at Web3, that's going to be definitive in terms of how the creator economy is going to be enriched, and banks will have a role to play there. Because today when we Google news, you know, news is available for free. And you know that somebody else paid for the journalist's salary. Now when you apply that context in terms of business, in terms of information, it's going to change the landscape. So that's where I think fintech is going to see a change of use of technology, where Web3 will come into play. And the other aspect that's going to be revolutionary is the use of IoT. Today, we see most of the interactions that banks have is through channels, but with people. And we are going to have an age where machines will talk to machines and machines will conduct transactions as well. And when steel talks to steel, that language is understood only by algorithms. And that's where the change will come, where the adoption of what you call as the Web 4, where Internet of Things is going to drive economies, is going to be a change in terms of technology of how adoption will happen. So I think from a perspective of technology adoption, there will be the aspect of visualization, and I did talk about metaverse in my speech yesterday. I think metaverse will be definitive, where you will create a visualization of data, you will create a visualization of how you want to represent your use case with the fintech, and the aspect that I spoke about of generative AI. I could have my own bot talking to the bank's bot and saying, this is what I want to demand from a product, because my bot told me how to get the best interest rate or how to work out something better as a mortgage, right? So it's going to talk to the bank's bot and get the output. Similarly, we are going to have, let's say, agri-tech and various other technologies that are driven by IoT that will then determine data that's required for fintech decisions.
Very, very passionate, and looking forward to all these big bang positive developments for the future of finance. Thank you so much once again, Rajesh, for this luminary intervention. I will go back to our initial two speakers, the banking sector representatives, and I would ask both of you to shed your comments on how do you are you each envisioning the role of the traditional banks in this rapidly changing landscape of fintech, especially with the emergence of challenger banks. So in the interest of time, I will ask each and every panelist to devote 2 minutes per your intervention, please.
So Jamshid, if you see, traditional banks are quite cognizant, right, of how swiftly the world is moving, the tectonic shifts that have happened in consumer preferences and behavior. And if you see as a common theme, right, they're investing very, very heavily into digital transformation, and it's a matter of survival, right? So they're putting up a fight. They're transforming not just their technology infrastructure, going cloud first, and Rajesh said it, right? So they're looking at microservices layer that can then talk to all applications for them to be more nimble, be quick to market. And they are adopting emerging technologies such as AI to solve through their challenges of legacy systems to get them to be more efficient. Right? So this is theme number one, which I see traditional banks are doing. And mind you, traditional banks have this inherent advantage of a very large customer base. They have deep-rooted trust. They have got a very strong typical brand equity, and they have got expertise in regulatory compliance. So this gives them also the advantage as a player in that whole ecosystem. The second bit that we see is most progressive digital banks are going to carve out either a separate segment or a separate subsidiary, like a challenger bank, to be able to offer services almost akin to a startup, right? And we are seeing globally banks do that. And they will start to offer services at a much lower price point, at a very differentiated customer value proposition, just as ABSA is trying to do with ABSA DG suite of products. And finally, I think collaboration is going to be the name of the game. Fintechs will emerge in their respective niches. Bank will operate as a broad-based player. And what they will do is, the fintechs want to tap into the large customer base very quickly, leap on that brand equity, lean on that brand equity, and to gain market share. And banks want to innovate faster. So I think they're going to combine each other's strength to create that win-win value prop.
So what you, I mean, so you seem to say that this growth between the traditional banks and the challenger banks will continue on, each on their own roadmap. So you are not, according to you, there won't be a threat from these telco companies who could potentially be driving those challenger banks and cannibalize on the growth potential of the traditional banking arena?
I think unless you are very deep-pocketed and you're properly funded by Tencent who can burn money for probably 2 decades, most fintechs have the limitation of capital, right? So they're also looking at leaner and nimbler growth models. So they're looking at white labeling and partnering. And I think as we grow, right, in our ecosystem, we all know that there is a place for everyone to expand, to win together. And I think this is going to be the mantra. So we had an era where it was fintechs versus banks versus challenger banks, to now fintechs and banks and challenger banks playing a leading role in actually, rather than fighting a red ocean, a small cake to say who takes the slice, people are saying how do we expand that cake, right? And democratize it so that we can all win in that whole equation.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll pass on the mic to Ashwin for his, if you have any differentiator insights or additional comments to add.
Thank you. It's working. Yeah. I think going forward, what is important is that the whole ecosystem is changing, right? So banks have to collaborate. I think the name is partnership. I don't see threats per se. Each one, fintechs, challenger banks, even neobanks and traditional banks, operate in different manners. Each have their own constraint, each have their own limitation, but each of them also have their own strength, right? So win-win, let's say, engagement, it's more about collaboration. I mean, we are seeing this within SPM Group in India. But I think what is important also to realize going forward is that banks, traditional banking has to reinvent itself. I mean, the primary goal of banking is to lend and take deposits, right? That is changing. The payment industry has been revolutionized. But reinventing traditional banking, we are seeing, Mrs. Jessica mentioned it, virtual assets, tokens, crypto, and so on coming up. Mauritius is starting to get into these kinds of trading, if I may say. We have to look even further than that. Why not a data economy that banks can tap into? So I think going forward, that should be the challenge, reimagining banking as it is.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. Let me now turn again to Sébastien. And we have noted the shift or transformative shift which is impacting on the banking environment with its own set of challenges with the emergence of all these digital financial service providers. So against this background, can you please inform our audience for 2 minutes or so on what are the main challenges that you find for integrating AI into the payment systems sector? And how are companies like yours addressing those?
Perhaps I will disappoint you. There are less and less challenges, in fact, because what is cool with AI is that I'm not talking about creating AIs. I do not know how to program LLM, etc. I don't want to know how to program it. But using AI is less and less challenging. I loved what you said, you know. about some years ago, it was fintechs against bank. My body, remember the bruise, les bleus qu'on dit, on my body, fighting with banks. But now that we are friends, I see that collaboration, and I like the word co-petition, you know, the mix between collaboration and competition, co-petition, which is, c'est ça, it is right in a living ecosystem. And I guess that fintechs, together with banks, we can leverage, because we are, it's written here, AI in fintechs on AI, but not only AI. We can leverage on the power of banks. You said it better than me. The wide reach of banks. And yes, together, I guess that there are less and less challenges, and there would be less and less challenges if banks, not banks, because bank is not someone. People, egos at banks, human at banks, were willing to play friendly with fintechs.
So thank you so much for your pragmatic view for AI going forward, Sebastian. Now I will turn to Sanjay. And Sanjay, can you enlighten us what are those specific challenges and risks which are associated with AI in the peer-to-peer lending sector? And according to you as an expert, how can those risks be mitigated by a peer-to-peer lending operator on the ground? You will have 2 minutes for, for this question.
Excuse me. In terms of challenges, I was like getting ready on my starting block to say, we need collaboration with banks. But I am very happy to hear both Ashwin and Sandeep, And Sebastian also mentioned that the mindset is changing. There is more collaboration going on. And I think, for example, in that aspect, MOCAS, Bank of Mauritius, has been an eye-opener of how we can integrate the ecosystem so that then becomes win-win for all. Likewise, obviously, we feel that as we proceed and with technology, because remember, technology is not just for the service provider, it's also for the user. And the user is using technology to see, how, and you did mention about, a bot responding to another bot, and Jessica talked about, the virtual world and how we can basically, what the possibility and fraud. We think that fraud is going, because ultimately we want to be 100% digital, okay? We want you to be applied for a loan anytime, anywhere, from any place. To be able to do that, fraud, identity fraud, and even related to finance is critical. And therefore, I can tell you, I think we have 21, 22 people at FinClub now. A third of our people are tech people. So I ask myself whether we are a financial company or we are a technology company, because the number of people, a third of that is technology, trying to implement. That's one. Secondly, for fintechs, Mauritius obviously, and for banks to that effect also, Mauritius is one very competitive market. It's a small market. So if we really want to grow, to survive initially, but to grow, it is important that we become outward looking. And therefore, we are aiming to, within potentially the next 3 to 5 years, to look at, for example, the East Africa as a hub whereby we are able to operate in 4 or 5 other countries to see how, facilitate. For example, would it not be great if, as a Mauritian, you are able to invest in a SME in Rwanda, for example? And the tools are coming up. For example, the COMESA Business Council has come up with a regional switch, whereby the Bank of Mauritius is connected to other banks. So payment can be done, and transfer of money can happen from one country to the other. So the challenges basically is how we adapt to go reach to first fraud detection and prevention. Secondly, how we can grow, we can become cross-border and eventually operate in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. And on a passing comment, I think the license that you've been granted by the Financial Services Commission is flexible to the extent that if a P2P lending operator would forthcomingly want to establish, expand abroad,
exactly.
Of course subject to the pre-approvals of the watchdog.
I think in that respect, FSC has been very farsighted in coming up with a bespoke peer-to-peer lending license, whereby anyone, whether you're a foreigner, you can lend on FinClub platform, and a borrower from any country can also borrow. So that has been, I think, and if I'm correct, it's probably one of the first, not just in Mauritius, but in Africa to come up with that kind of license.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and thank you. It's always very warm to hear it from one of the key players in the...
from time to time, yes.
Not from time to time, at all times. Let me correct myself.
No, often, let's say often.
Yeah, often.
Thank you.
So, Jessica, we know that Africa, as Sanjay just mentioned, presents unique opportunities as well as challenges for the virtual asset space. In this context, can you inform us about how your digital enterprise is addressing the specific needs of the African markets?
So, as I mentioned before, I mean, the issues that we have are issues of trade between Africa. So there is no liquidity. There is difficulty of raising capital for the continent, for infrastructure projects. Very often, capital raise is done outside the continent, and therefore, it's sometimes very often short-term borrowings as opposed to long-term vision borrowing. So it prevents to roll out a long-term vision for the complete development of the continent. So this absence of liquidity on the continent is a huge problem. I mean, I was looking at an IMF figure recently, and what they were saying was intertrade in Africa is 15%. Trade in Asia is 70%, and in Europe it's 60%. So if you're looking at that difference, it's huge. So what fintechs do is that they're changing the game. I mean, I hear about it is what we're looking for, collaboration between the big players and the smaller players so we can more easily scale up better solutions. But at Mindex, we've got a slogan and we say innovation with purpose. So if fintechs are there to push the big players to do better, such as doing digital bank accounts for free, then great. If fintechs are here to create together with the bigger banks better solution, again, good. But collaboration for the sake of collaboration to create better fintechs, not really what Mindex is about. I think the continent has real problems. Cost of banking is too high. Timing of transaction, T+2, T+3, too long. And us as fintechs trying to raise something from here that is international, we feel the pain of the infrastructure deficiencies in the region, and we struggle. And I think these collaborations, this is what we need to be looking at this together with a purpose to grow the continent for the longer term and for all of us.
Thank you very much, Jessica. We are being hard-pressed for time by the organizers, and I must do justice to our last speaker, Rajesh. In 1 or 2 minutes, Rajesh, can you just sum it up and inform us in what ways AI is actually revolutionizing the provision of digital financial services within the space of fraud prevention?
I'll keep that short. From a perspective of fraud prevention, I think there are various aspects to consider of what were frauds earlier and how frauds occur in the digital age. Earlier, it was easier to say that, there are set rules on which you can determine fraud. So there was business intelligence, and you could use simpler algorithms for detecting frauds. But nowadays, with the digital economy, the fraud is multi-layered. So for example, it could be a combination of device, a SIM card, and then location, plus other situations that have happened. So in those cases, we go by behavioral analysis algorithms, which are complex to then determine what could potentially be a fraud. Something I want to just render here to make it very simple. Artificial intelligence can seem as complex as it is. The simplification of artificial intelligence is when someone starts using it, it gets a name and it is no longer artificial. So when I talk about fraud detection, I'll just say that simply put, what would happen in detection of frauds is that you would be able to create wisdom to take decisions, and those algorithms will be used for digital fraud detection, and not just simple algorithms that will generate information which only adds to false positives.
Thank you so much, Rajesh, for all these brilliant insights. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this intellectually live and rich discussion. Our panelists would be delighted to take any questions from the floor, but I'm informed that due to time limitation, we might leave it after the session. Our speakers will be very delighted to have a chat with anyone on any particular queries that you have. So, as we have noted today, ladies and gentlemen, AI is indeed a significant topic and will invariably impact on the future of financial services. As highlighted by almost, if not all our speakers, as policymakers, regulators, and industry captains, we should hold hands together and continuously ensure for a conducive environment through collaboration and advanced cooperation and dialogues in the dynamic field of AI. On behalf of this panel, we therefore thank you all for your kind attention, and join me please for a warm round of applause to all our distinguished panelists. Thank you. Okay, boys, well done. See. Okay, Sanjay, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Monsieur Sanjay, merci beaucoup. Hein? Jessica, c'est aí. Mr. Sanchez, non, c'est un groupe photo. Merci.
Thank you very much, panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, as we draw this insightful session to an end, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to our esteemed panelists for their invaluable contributions. Before we part ways, I am delighted to introduce Dr. Suraj Jadoo, Chairman of the Mauritius Emerging Technologies Council, for his closing reflections. Dr. Jadoo's leadership in the field of emerging technologies promises to offer us a comprehensive perspective in the discussions we have had today. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Suraj Jadoo on stage.
Thank you, Shalini. So, good morning, everyone. We come to the sad part of the event. Okay, so METX has been divided into 3 parts: the AI Summit, which is closing right now, the Industry Day, and then the Expo. Okay, so we are hard pressed on time, so I won't be too long. Yesterday, Peter said something which struck me. He said that all participants here would forget, 80% of what was discussed the very next day. So right now, I'm just going to do a very short recap of what I have retained from today's and yesterday's deliberations. And then I would also give you the final kind of instructions, especially for those who are going to catch the coaster, the transport for SVICC. So yesterday we talked about different elements, okay? We started with the government's ministerial vision of how to lead AI, and especially how to make AI available at the grassroots, okay? So we can see that many countries have the same kind of vision, and there is a need for collaboration. We also took into account the approach of international bodies, especially in the area of policy, capacity building, education, and so on. We'll look about what is the vision of some of the leading local IT organizations, and we have seen that many, those who are on stage, already have very good plans about how to use AI. They already started to use AI and already are in the position to scale it up. We look at how measures can be taken by strategic management to take concrete actions in order to be able to adopt AI into the various maturity levels depending upon their organizations. And then we discuss about different, let's say, hype things, like what is generative AI? We talk about metaverse, but we talk also about a very important part, which is the ethical aspects of AI. So yesterday was a very, I would say, well-rounded, kind of discussion about what about different things entailed with AI. Today, we have discussed about the impact of AI in education, and right now we have just discussed about AI in fintech. So, and yesterday we also talked about AI in healthcare also. So you can see we have also looked at different verticals in terms of the main industries which are more apt to use AI. So the big question is, what next? Okay, what next? We have been discussing, we have been talking, we have been learning. So what should be next? Already, with the feedback that I have been getting, many of you are already asking for this event to be an annual one. So this is something that we need to look at seriously. But I believe that for us at the METC, what next means we need to try to go more into the path of AI adoption, and to be able to do this, we would need the collaboration, but also support of both private entities, but also public entities. We have been talking about policies, guidelines, and so on. Most probably, during the coming months, we are going to again try to reach out towards our partners in order to try to discuss about what could be the best way forward in terms of policies and guidelines. I would miss on my obligations if I do not mention our invaluable sponsors and partners. So there are so many of them that I said we need to show everyone, okay? So thank you dear sponsors, dear partners, because without you, this event wouldn't have happened, wouldn't have been as it is, and definitely we really want to say a big thanks. I would need also to thank our parent ministries, the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, for its support, guidance, and also help in terms of organization. Definitely, I would need to thank the organizing team of this event, who has been working, really, really day and night during the past 4 months for this event. METC has only 4 full-time staff, so you can imagine what the amount of work which has been involved here. Okay. What next is also your lunch. Okay, in some minutes. So your lunch is coming next. But for those who are going to especially the international delegates who want to attend the opening expo, which is scheduled at 1:30 p.m. at the SVICC, we have organized transport, which is going to leave at 12:30 sharp from the hotel. So I would invite you to come to the reception in order to catch the transport. So on these words, I would say thank you for your attendance. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this precious enlightenment, Dr. Suraj Jadoo. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, panelists, speakers, and distinguished guests of honor, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and everyone for gracing this function with us today. Your attendance has truly enriched our gathering. We will now break for lunch. Concluding our current session, this interval presents an ideal opportunity to network and enjoy refreshments. Your participation at the SVICC for the next 3 days is greatly anticipated, and we look forward to welcoming you there. Once again, thank you very much for your presence, your engagement, and your commitment to advancing the field of AI. Together, let us forge a future brimming with innovation and collaboration. Thank you very much.